What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 1 of Hustle Talk with myself. My name is Justin, guys. Thank y'all so much for being here. If you are tuning in, very, very grateful. Also, very honored, very grateful to have my first guest on the show, Mr. Anthony Figueroa, Ayo Figs on Instagram, Figs in real life. A guy that I've been doing business with for probably 10, 11 years. That started from a Facebook group, and it evolved to the sneaker shows and to kind of a friendship. And now we cool, man. Reached out to him last week, the end of last week, middle of last week, and asked him if he's interested in coming on. And he agreed, and I flew his ass out from North Carolina, and he got here at 7:44 this morning, and we went to Waffle House and smashed there. I'll allow him to introduce himself, man. The guy has been killing it for 10 years, 10 plus years. He's had a sneaker store. Really somebody that I've seen his whole journey. Who are you and what do you do, bro?
All right, well, what up, y'all? I'm Figs. Yeah, thank you for the kind words. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Super honored to be the first person on here, which is really
It's an honor
cool.
to have you, bro.
Because the same way you've watched me grow, I've watched you grow as well. But yeah, I'm Figs. I own a store out in Charlotte, North Carolina called Soul Station 704.
Shout out.
We basically just supply the whole city with the best prices that we possibly can. A lot of give back for everybody. And yeah, I'm like full-time just sneaker guy. Wake up every day, I do the same thing. It's kind of fun.
How long you been doing it? Like I know I said 10 plus years, but when did, and this isn't just about sneakers either. So when did the hustle, this is hustle talk. So when did you first realize that you had something in buying and selling or reselling anything? Like what age do you remember that?
Definitely middle school, because I had this middle school where I lived in Florida that had this thing called the micro society. And basically at the end of each day, you had a block of 45 minutes where each person had their own job and you got paid in what was called micro money. It was like a currency for the school.
Okay.
And I worked in the library and I got a lot more than most people.
Yeah.
So I was able to cash out on like more candy
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So what I would
Yes.
do is I would like kind of form my own, like bring my own candy and just charge a little less for other people's micro money.
And get all the micro bucks.
Oh my goodness. And then like they'd be see me walking up in the store buying everything.
Yeah.
Like, where'd you get all this micro money? Did you take it? I'm like, nope, I made it. Honestly.
You was bringing your own candy to school.
Honestly.
That's where it's. I think that's where it starts for a lot of people. Is
Five gum.
Needle 5 gum.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
See, that's where it starts for a lot of people. I think is the grade school or the middle school. They find something. Like me, it was a Michael Jordan card I traded for, and I took it home, and my dad was like, "Where the hell did you get that?" It was like an expensive Michael Jordan
Nice,
card, right?
nice.
And so yeah, I think that's kind of when I first realized it too was middle school. A little bit about you though, man. Like your childhood, where you grew up at. I know we talked earlier. We talked plenty of times.
For sure.
I just want people to get a real understanding of you and kind of like where you actually, started and came from, and where you're at now, where you've been, where you foresee yourself going, and we can kind of touch on all that as we go. But yeah, like a little bit about your, upbringing, early days. How was that?
Okay, so I'm from Freeport, Long Island. I'm born in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
And basically growing up, wasn't much to do when I was a kid. We weren't really allowed out the house too much. My mom and my dad ran us kind of strictly. But strict more as in like for our own safety and our best interest,
Right, for sure.
where we lived at and stuff.
Yeah, New York.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
like we lived there until I was probably 14, maybe a little younger. Moved to Florida, and then Florida is where my middle school days were, and then bounced around to North Carolina, ended up doing all my high school there. So I was kind of like broken up into where I lived. Like elementary was one area, middle school was a different area.
High school was
I
somewhere.
lived in two different places when I lived in Florida also in the short time I lived there.
Right.
And then in North Carolina, this is kind of where I've like, North Carolina is where I've kind of like hung my hat.
Yeah, that's your home.
Where
That's
I'm
home.
from.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So Charlotte, North Carolina is basically where I've been since I'm 15 years old.
Okay.
And yeah, that's like pretty much my.
And
where
did you
I
get into
came
sneakers
from.
like when you got to Charlotte? Is that around when you got into it?
So the first time I got a pair of sneakers was actually not me purchasing them or them being purchased for me. This was I had this homie named Miguel in my ninth grade year in the high school that I went to, and this was when I lived in Florida, and he used to wear a pair of 2006 military fours.
Oh yeah.
And they were beat.
Beat,
Like
yeah.
he didn't even wear laces in them, but I just thought they looked so cool. And one day I just asked him if he'll trade me, or like if I could buy him or something. But I didn't really have no money.
Right.
I was in ninth grade, and then he was like, "Yo, I'll trade for your sandals."
Yeah.
And I was wearing some Nike sandals or Jordan sandals or something. I was like, yeah.
So you came up.
And I did that shit, but I didn't even think like, oh, those might not be my size or anything like that.
You're a big size too, yeah.
Bro, I wore like a size 12 at the time as a freshman, and them shits was a 10, bro, or like a 9.5 or something, bro, and I could barely
Did you squeeze in them?
Hell yeah.
Squeezed in them, huh?
Bro.
So that's
I
your
wore
first pair of shoes though, like
06 military
Yeah.
for best shoe ever.
Yeah.
Not best shoe ever.
I was about to call
second
you out
best shoe ever.
because I've heard you say what's your favorite shoe. We'll get to that in a minute. Guess what his favorite? Listen, this guy right here, off subject. He knows more about shoes, especially retros, than a lot of people. Okay, one of his favorite shoes, or his favorite shoe, greatest shoe of all time. It's a retro. If y'all want to guess it, feel free to guess it. I'll let him say it in a little bit.
It's a weird one.
It's a very.
It's not everybody's favorite.
It's not no $10,000 shoe either. Okay.
Oh nah, you can get these right now for like
if you guess it, I'll be very surprised. But so that was your first pair of shoes, the militaries, and did that just spark a? Obviously, you didn't see no resale at that moment, right? It just sparked like a hobby at first.
So what it sparked was the fact that I could get my hands on it for the first time, because like the way I got shoes growing up was pretty much like my mom or my dad would bring me somewhere like, I don't know, Payless.
Yeah, Rack Room.
Shoe Carnival. Some shit
sure.
like that, bro.
Yeah.
And like I remember the coolest shoe to me I ever had growing up was like Fila's with the straps. Like it wasn't even like no Grant Hill.
Fila's were good though. Yeah,
they were good, bro. Like,
Fila's were
they were
fire.
the best, and they were like $34.99 a pair.
Yeah.
Buy two, get two for $60.
Absolutely.
Some shit, bro.
Yes,
and my dad would like, I don't know, once every like 4 or 5 months, just be like, yo, let's go get some shoes. And we're like, yes.
But the Fila's like that. Obviously, it wasn't a Jordan, right? And
no.
So once you got that first Jordan, you was like, okay.
Yes, I realized I could make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Realized I could make it happen. And
in ninth grade.
Yes, but then so very, very, very shortly after that is when my dad did pass away.
Yeah.
And once that happened, I moved to North Carolina. All good. That's when I moved to North Carolina. But when I moved to North Carolina, that's when I started doing a lot more research on the shoes.
Right.
Like just on my free time as a kid, just looking it up on Google. There were only like 5 websites to look at shoes.
Yeah.
It wasn't like now where
Everybody has one.
Yeah, it wasn't
right.
like that. Nah, there was like Nike Talk.
Yeah.
Which was like a forum group.
There
was Soul Collector. There was oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. There were just the early Facebook groups.
Right,
Those were the best thing to ever happen to the world, bro. It was like a live Craigslist.
Oh,
like
bro,
that
listen,
shit, man.
it was great. That's where we met, Facebook groups around 2015. So from the military, and then you move to North Carolina, you start to see that I know we spoke about earlier. You said you started to see like there's some money in it. Is that when you started to see that?
Yeah, so the first time I realized there was actual money in it was when I got on Craigslist, just on a random day when I first had moved here. I get on Craigslist and I saw a pair of fire red Jordan 5s for sale.
Yeah.
And this was a 2006 pair, which wasn't uncommon to see
Back
back
then.
then. It was kind of just like a whatever. It's available. And I saw them listed for like, I think $150, and I just remember asking if he would take $100 or some shit like
Yeah.
that. His name was Travis Moneymaker.
Remember.
I'm still friends with the guy. The guy's the greatest.
Yeah.
But he sold them to me for just whatever he sold them to me for was less than what he had listed.
Yeah.
And I bought them and I wore them to school and I loved them. And then I sold them so shortly after.
Yeah.
Like we're talking 3 days. I just got asked, yo, are those a size this? How much can I buy them for? I don't even remember who I sold them to, but I sold them at a profit.
Yeah.
And just that little bit of extra money paid for my lunch in school. That like whole week I could get an extra bag of chips, like something like that. And I was just like,
so it clicked to you.
oh my, bro, my teachers knew I did this.
Yeah.
Like, any opportunity I had to make money, I was on top of it.
And so then you started what? You camping out, and a
my
lot of people listen. If you're watching this and you don't know about camping out, if you're a new sneakerhead, if you're not a sneakerhead at all, if you don't know what we're talking about,
One time.
People used to wait in line. He'll tell you a story here in a minute about him waiting in line for 23 hours for a pair of shoes. So it used to be really, really a thing, and it was a huge sneaker culture thing because you see the same people at these camp outs. As
we were
you
basically
would
family.
Yeah, as you would on Facebook groups and things like that, because they all there for the same reason. But so you started camping out, and what, you made a business? Like, how did it evolve until you knew, like, I want to kind of take this path more than, the traditional, and I'm not trying to jump way ahead, but like, the traditional college route or whatever kind of, corporate America route or whatever, I guess at what point did you kind of know that?
Okay, so I have a lot of thanks to show to an event called SOE, Sneakers Over Everything. It's been an event since I was first brought to North Carolina.
Right.
Like, once I got to North Carolina, I found out about this event a couple months after I moved here, and I've been just like, I was the most loyal attendee by every show. Like, because I would make $1, you know, but like this was back when, like, you had 3 pairs of shoes to walk around with, and then it turned into you got 6 pairs. Then you come up on some stuff with no box, and then you have 10 pairs. You need a table.
Then you need a table. Yes.
Then you end up talking to the owner of the show. You learn their name. You get into contact. You build a relationship. Then it turned into, I got so cool with the owner of SOE that he brought me to my first sneaker con, which was Sneaker Con New York City. Back on the pier. That, like, the best venue ever. Like fucking Jacob Javits. Like it was just the big fucking warehouse, and everyone had that shit with them. Like it was all great product, and it opened my eyes to just like, oh, I can do this forever. Like I went to sleep dreaming about selling shoes.
And how old were you then?
First sneaker con, 16 maybe.
In New York.
Going to sneaker, but like this was like we didn't have no money to fly there.
Right, you had to drive.
You had to drive, hell yeah, but
like,
and we weren't driving no new car either. We were driving. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'll tell you what. We came back from Detroit, me, Christian, and Joey, and we had a U-Haul full, and there was only 2 seats in the front. So SneakerCon. We took a chair from SneakerCon. One of the vendor chairs, and put it in the middle, and he had to he rode on it, and they swapped it out, and then Joey actually got in the back of the freaking U-Haul and for like 3 hours. So that's what people don't understand. Like
it's a grind.
When we say hustle, listen, it's unlike, it is a hustle. The sneaker game is a hustle, just like any other, you selling cars or candy bars. It don't matter. It's all a hustle. That's what I told Biggs. He asked me, who I was actually going to have on here, and, what my actual goal was. I'm having everybody on here. Like I'm having my veterinarian friend on here, my dentist friend, my barber friend, anybody that has a hustle and they do what it takes. That's kind of who I want. And that's why I started with my man right here. So you're 16 years old, you go to SneakerCon, you can make a business. How did it evolve from that?
Okay, so I did my SneakerCon event, obviously continued to do those events. ended up going to the first ever store where I saw new and used, because that's what makes what we do very unique, is
Right.
that we do new and used
Correct.
sneakers.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of what I've strived on all these years, was the aspect of doing both.
Right.
And
Because you're catering to both.
you
Yeah.
cater to everyone. You
for
got
sure.
something for the people who are on a strict budget.
Yep.
You have people who money isn't an issue. You're looking for the item at that
Yep.
point. You know, it's a totally different search.
But you always want to have something.
Always want
Yeah,
to have
for sure,
something.
bro.
Yes. And always want to be able to provide whatever.
Yep.
So basically, I found my first ever store, which was Round 2 in Richmond, Virginia,
Yep.
who my friend brought me back from a random sneaker con. We just stopped by, and I saw how used shoes could be traded, and I understood the system so well that a couple years after, you know, I'm just now getting out of high school, I basically makeshift opened my own store, which
Right.
was one of the first ones in our city.
Yeah.
Um,
In Charlotte.
Yes,
Okay.
in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was called Halftime.
Shout out halftime.
Shout out Halftime.
Shout out
You know what's
Halftime.
crazy? The building ain't even there no more.
Tore it down.
They done tore that shit down. Yeah, we was in the hood.
In the hood.
It was in the
Miles,
hood.
huh?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was like the best of times, man. I never had a better time in my whole life, just because I was in an era of high school where, like, oh, you're not going to college, or
Yeah.
like that was like you were judged.
Yeah,
hard.
for sure. Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I went the tattoo
Yeah, for
route. I don't
sure.
really mind the judgment
Yeah.
thing, but at the time, it is impactful when, you know, you're the one who's like victimized of the judgments,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So always getting told you're not going to college. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
like,
what do
you
you-
really think this hobby is going to work?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
work.
your little
out.
shoe business.
Like, this is super going to work
Yeah.
out. And here's why. In a year, when I get to show you after all, and it, you know,
Reach was,
so
yeah.
thankfully, of course, the system worked,
Yeah.
and you know, I opened my store. I was open for a short time, very
Okay.
short time.
On
due
halftime?
yes,
Okay.
very short time due to a fallout with the partners at the time.
Okay.
And that was just my first ever experience in business where not being of age
Right. But you were fresh 17,
was
18
my
years
it
old.
was
Yeah,
my
for sure.
downfall for
Right.
that. But I luckily had, you know, saved money, made
Yeah.
enough to, you know, put away for the next couple months, and then I was able to start my own business,
Yeah.
Soul Station, which had no ties to anyone but me.
Shout out to Soul Station.
Oh my
704.
God, my baby. I
The
love
only
Soul
one
Station.
in the world. The only Soul Station.
For sure.
704.
And yeah, it was just like I started with, you know, a lease from a lady who just was like, I believe in this, you know, sure, let's do it. Got in opening day, had a 30-40 person line. I was baffled because
Uh-huh.
all I did was I used to post on Instagram.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I was like,
yeah. I
hey, now
remember,
we have
yeah.
a store. Like,
Yeah.
come through.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And I remember the first shoe I ever sold in my store was a Ferrari 14 for like $200, and I paid $120, and I was like, yes,
$80, baby. Yes.
I was so happy.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, after that, like my shelves have evolved even. Like, they were made of cinder blocks
Yeah.
and 2x4s
Yeah.
that I had got from Home Depot that same
Yeah.
day. You know what I'm saying? So like, I was like, okay, I'm opening the store and I don't have shelves. What can I do?
Right.
Straight to Home Depot.
I've been there. I swear, brother.
And like, the people are watching me, and because we're on a second story,
Yeah.
people are watching me like I'm just up and down,
Everything.
sweating. I didn't
Yeah.
give a fuck. Like, I was just like, let's.
But
get
that's what
these
it
stuff.
takes, though, right?
It was just such a grind, and it was so amazing. Motivation was through the roof.
That's the
I mean,
fun part, though, right?
especially when it's for the first time. You know what I
Bro,
mean? When you find out it's
The experience,
Oh,
right? Because,
experience is
like,
everything.
I know people can't see the building that we're in, but we're in about 1,000 square foot building that I've had for 6 years. And I opened my sneaker store up here with like 33 pairs. And
I think I had maybe 40 pairs.
yeah, and they
50
were
pairs, something like that.
half used and half pre-owned, and there was like 20 pair of youth. Okay, I'm
Oh,
talking
no
about
it.
3Y, 4Y.
Oh, no
and
it.
listen, and I opened it up, and they didn't have nothing back here in this room, and I had these little rinky shelves out there, and a friend of mine, he'll be on the pod soon, Alec Fritz. He drove up from
Shout out
Knoxville.
Alec.
Shout out Alec. He drove up from Knoxville, him and his wife, and they stayed with me all day, and I did good. I mean, I had a good opening, but man, I'm thinking back, I'm like, who the hell was I opening up a store with 30 pairs of shoes, right? And but
Gotta start
I
somewhere.
had people that believed in me, man, and that's 2019, so this is 25. and I've stuck with it, and it's paid off. So I get, like you were saying, oh, you think this little shoe business is gonna pay your bills, or you think, like,
But I think my favorite thing was I just never responded to that stuff.
Yeah.
Not in a positive or negative way.
Right.
Just very, I listened and I, in my head, knew, okay, let's prove that wrong.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
because you give your energy to them, that takes energy away from you, right?
Yeah, nothing to
Yeah,
brag about.
right.
Let it show.
Right,
You know
for
what I'm
sure.
saying?
Yeah.
For sure.
So when you opened up Soul Station, how old were you when you opened up the first time?
Soul Station? I think like 19 years old
19.
or something like that.
So and put that in perspective, he's what, 29?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, be 30 this year, dog.
Oh,
Hey, he almost 30, y'all. Give him hell.
Such a milestone.
So 10 years. So from then to now, you're 10 years in. Many, many lessons in, right?
Oh my God, they keep coming.
Highs and lows, right? Let's touch on some of them.
Sure.
Purely sneaker related.
Okay.
Or whatever, any kind of business, whatever kind of your business you want to put out there. what's your, like, give me a couple, of some really good, either lessons you learned or achievements as far as being a business owner, or, things just paying off. And then give me some of the shitty stuff, man. That
So the highs first.
Yeah.
And then the fucking
Let's just kill him with the low, baby. Let's just kill him with the lows afterward. Immediately after, okay? Go straight into it.
For sure. All right. This is like where like you become attached to the main character and then they just get smoked.
Yeah.
Like
That's it. The
All
good
right.
guy dies in this movie, okay?
All right, let's see. So a high, a personal. Okay. I think one of the coolest things that most people I don't think would see it the way I see it. But when I was growing up, like I said, there wasn't much to do. So I watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
Right? And I used to think the news was the coolest thing ever. I just thought being on the news would be the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then one Black Friday, I decided, hey, let's do like some crazy give back type shit. I don't even remember what year this was, if I'm being honest. I want to say like maybe 18 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was because the Eagles won the Super Bowl and I was really hyped.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah. Shout out Eagles.
Oh yeah, fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly. Man.
But anyway, so like I was in such a great like, set of my life then, and I was like, okay, let's do some give back.
Yeah.
And I gave away like 100 and something pairs of shoes on Black Friday for free, right? Which is obviously retail's biggest shopping day. We make good money that day. But I decided, okay, let's do a little bit of both because we have a ton of shit to sell, but let's also give back. And we had such a turnout, hundreds of people waiting for our stuff. It was insane. And the news came in and they interviewed me, and I have the whole segment. I remember on that day I'm getting random Snapchats and Instagram videos throughout the day of people like, oh my God, is this you on the TV right now? And I'm like, yes it is. And it, like, to me that was like 1 in 5 of my favorite moments ever.
Right.
That like I know people would say, oh, I mean, you're just on the news, but to me it was like I've wanted to be on the news my whole life.
People wouldn't understand that because that's
so much cooler than having like 1 billion followers.
Yes.
Like to me, it was just like, yo, I'm on the news.
But that's something you wanted as a kid, right? It's like
so cool.
It's like if you want this car and you get it as an adult, you're like,
For sure.
yes, yeah, that's dope. So that's a high. What's another one, man?
Another high. Probably just how lucrative our business is. Personally, I get a high off of making money.
Yeah,
I
sure.
really like making money because I know what it's like to not have any money.
Preach,
And
man.
I think that finding your own unique way of making it is like it's like your haha. Like
sure.
like I don't have to do anything traditional. Just do what I want,
And what you really love, right?
Oh, I love this so
Like
much.
you love it, right?
I love it so
Do you?
much, dude. Yeah. I love it more than anything ever.
Real question: are you happy doing what you do?
Am super happy.
Very
doing
happy.
What I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't say I've never had a job because I have been I was employed at a fast food place once for like a week.
Yeah.
Got fired because my attitude was not right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had to do community service, like a skating rink once, and like that was like fun because I like to
Yeah.
skate. But then I got fired
Yeah.
for selling shoes on the boss's time.
Yeah.
Like I remember, yeah, bro. Like, but that's the only jobs I ever had. So like,
He got fired
this
from community
has,
service, y'all. From community service.
bro, just collecting my
Hey,
hours, bro.
He just there. He ain't even getting paid.
Full
and
of shit.
They fired him. I had to think about that. I was like, hold on, you got fired. Okay.
Yeah, but okay. So, oh wow, I almost forgot where I was.
You talking about your highs?
Yeah. So, you said, am I happy working
Yeah.
with what I do? And I
Yeah,
definitely am,
for sure.
because what I do is something that I've always believed in before it was something that anyone does. Like,
Right.
yeah, sneakers were being sold, but only through retailers.
Right.
You know, like the only people making money off this were, you know, people doing it on the side, like me, or people who were just running the corporate accounts,
Right.
Foot Locker and
Yeah,
Nike and just
absolutely.
all those
Yeah.
big. That's it. That was the only way. So like, we were just like, okay, we can do something with the secondhand
Yeah.
stuff because we can find a way to dictate making it cheaper
Yeah.
for the consumer, and it caught on, of course.
So you're kind of, I mean, you know, you go back 10 years, 12 years. I mean, that's kind of like the pinnacle of, you know, the retail shops, like all the retail shops starting to pop up, you know, everywhere.
yeah.
So you were, yeah, that's pretty dope to even think about, you know, that, you know, to realize it that far ago, you know, that long ago, and to really turn it into a lifelong business. And I know a lot of men, I'll say this to the men, I'm proud of you for everything that you've done and accomplished. Like, I really am.
Thank you.
It's really cool to see, especially, you know, because we're in the same space, you know, we're both in the sneaker space. So it is really cool to see somebody else doing their thing.
This is really cool.
Well, thank you, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, now we got to crush y'all, man. Give us. Oh, hold on. Before we get to, I got a couple highs I want to tell real quick. Okay, about this man. First and foremost.
About me?
Yes. First and foremost. Okay.
I do have one that has been on the tip of my tongue, and
Okay,
I do
go
want to
ahead.
tell you. Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead. Don't
so
lose the
listen.
thought. Don't lose the thought.
He is one of the greatest Pokemon Go players ever. He's like ranked. He is. Listen. He is, and he's trying to
Love
explain it to
Pokemon
me.
Go.
He's trying to explain to me about how they have these cars of people and they go around and they organize and
Shadow raids.
yeah. See, yeah, like bro. So that's pretty cool. I don't know nothing about it, but like he's really good at it. So also when I first met, or when we first started doing business, he was maybe 18, 19, I guess. He was really big. And
Oh yeah, I was a fat boy.
so I guess a couple years after we started doing business or whatever, you know, I seen him start posting about, you know, he was getting in the gym and you know, he was gonna lose it or whatever. And it's been, you know, 8 years, whatever, and he's kept it off. And so that's another hustle that you have to be super like into and in tune with. And dedication. So that's a big deal too, man. So congratulations, because I know I go
super
back and
appreciate
forth
that.
with my weight. So I know like it's a lot to stay in it and stay dedicated and to actually lose it and keep it all. So congrats on that.
Thanks so much.
And what's on the tip of your tongue?
Oh, because you asked me about a high.
Yeah.
And I didn't say it, but okay. So when I was, I'm gonna hate myself for being wrong, but maybe when I was like 18 or 19 or something like that, my mom, who I have to thank for a lot of stuff. Okay, but this in particular.
Shout out Mama Figs.
Shout out Mama Figs.
Yeah.
All right. My mom gave me this car, right? When I had like first got my license. It took me a while to get mine. She gave me this little car that she had, this extra car. It was a Nissan Sentra, a little beat up, whatever. Got from A to B no matter what,
Yeah.
right? Well, one day I actually traded this car for sneakers, and like my mom was like, fuck no, you're not doing that. I'm like, listen, I'm doing this
Yeah.
for real. And
Yeah.
like I drove to the kid's house. The kid's mom, who was getting the car, was like trying so hard to talk him out of it, and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Like we done.
Yeah,
we
it's a
done.
done deal.
Yep. And I'm looking through these shoes, and then all I'm doing in my head is the
Math.
numbers. That's it. I'm like, okay, I know what this car is worth. I know what this is
Yeah.
worth to me. okay, boom, 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 let's wrap it up. So like I got everything up out of there, and the next day I went to SOE, a sneaker show. Turned this $1,000 car into $6-7 grand, right? And still had some shoes left over. Like it was perfect. Went and bought a Cadillac, same fucking day off Craigslist, right? That it literally only got me around for, I don't know, 2 weeks. Broken down. Hell yeah, broken down. Then I had to use some of that extra money to get like a different car that did last me for a little while. But yeah, that flip, that one just fell in my lap. I saw on Facebook something like looking to trade a sneaker collection for, and I just was like,
let's roll, baby.
What? Yes. Yeah, like this. I remember what the name was on Facebook, and I remember it was from a sneaker group called Carolina Sneaker Society. But that's all I remember.
Them $6,000 links are fire, bro, because they don't come a lot. Like, especially nowadays, like, bro. But when you hit one of them,
that was when money just wasn't even obtainable either. So it was just like, bro, here, and I was like, what?
Yeah, that's like $1 million.
Oh my God, $2 million.
Man. All right, so we touched on a few of your highs, bro. Give me some of the lows. I mean, the nitty gritty stuff you've experienced. I mean, being a business owner, entrepreneur in general, I like to know what different people got different hardships or things they've been through. Anything you're comfortable with sharing?
For sure.
Do your thing, man.
One thing that comes to mind just thinking of not good situations is when something out of your control happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I had this one situation a couple years ago where, again, we were on the second story. We were under a nutrition shop and a pizza parlor and just other stuff, and one of those businesses had a fire in their back room. And I'm at my store at, this is probably 10 p.m. with my team. Yeah. With some family members. I believe my cousin was with me. We're just there, and we just, we know what type of area we're in. It's dark. Yeah. Doors are locked, of course. We have cameras, so we have a monitor present, but we're working. Yeah. And like we just hear a crazy banging on the door, almost like we're getting broken into, and it's a guy from the pizza spot. And he's just like, yo, there's a fire. There's a fire. Like, this dude came up to get us. Yeah. Like, this dude fucking looked out. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we were the only business that was there that late with the pizza place. Sure. Like, no one else was open. So, dude came up, knocked on our door. We opened the door, and black smoke was just, like, you couldn't even see the street. Like, it was just, it was already heavy. And it started coming into the store. So me, my whole team, like we all just kind of look at each other and we're like, okay, grab what you like need and just get out. Like I'll figure this out later. And it was oh my goodness, it was like a 5-hour long process of them like putting the fire out, making sure it was safe, deeming it was good. Like they had the fire trucks parked in such a position, none of us could get our cars out, so we couldn't go nowhere. We had Arby's next door give us free food because they're just watching us like deal with this whole it was trash. And then that caused my store to be closed for a while because they had to do reconstruction, permitting, the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Did it flood you out up there or
flood me out?
Yeah. No sprinklers or nothing?
Yeah, so like sprinklers went off, like, there was like damage, especially in our back room of like burn damage.
So it was a pretty big loss or overall or just mentally?
Yeah, but like that's not even like the product was like, I know this sounds crazy as a business owner to say, but like the product was like the last thing I cared about because you can get that replaced. Yeah, for sure. I was super thankful nobody got hurt because I remember like what the smoke felt like. Like I've never been in a fire situation before ever. So I just remember what the smoke felt like touching my lungs. I remember how bad my eyes hurt from like how thick it got, because I stayed in there way longer than anybody else because I'm like, I can't forget anything. Like this is my shit and it's about to go. fuck, like what am I gonna do? And then I remember one of my people definitely came up and was like, yo, Phil, like we gotta go, bro. But like I kept going back and forth to the door, like, okay, I'm burning down. Can I make this jump? Like I don't give a fuck. Like I gotta make sure I have everything.
This is how he is in real life too,
bro.
I swear I can picture
like
him.
I was in like just straight fucking, okay, I gotta make this is one shot. Gotta make this right. Like gotta make sure I have everything. And you know what's crazy? I did forget something, and I was so mad I forgot it.
What was it?
Can't say.
Okay.
Forgot it though.
We forgot it. We all know what it is.
Fucking forgot.
We all know what it is, and it caught fire. No, so that was obviously hard to deal with. And you were closed. How long you were closed?
Oh man, almost a year.
Yeah, so a year of
Almost
no income, no.
Well,
I mean, yeah, obviously you're hustling on the side. But
I never stopped doing sneakers. I still have a fucking amazing customer base that's super loyal, as well as suppliers and people that want to sell me product at all times. So I definitely was able to keep afloat, but without my venue, it was just like.
Why do you think you have that extensive customer list still? Like after, I mean, it's easy to say you've been doing this 10 years. You should have. But you'll be surprised at the people who
I'm the type of person
don't have that, right?
Yeah, dude, I'm the type of person where like, let's say I just remember we had a bad experience or a bad deal. Yeah. I'll reach out and be like, yo, let's make that right. I want a good relationship with every person I talk to. I'm not a fan of any type of aggressiveness or animosity in the business space. Like personal reasons, sure, be mad, do feel your way about,
But still buy some shoes from me.
Whatever. Yeah, like I do have plenty of people that I 100% know just don't like me as a person. I'm not gonna say I don't care why, as in like I don't care, but like I don't care because.
But they're still in Soul Station.
I'm still gonna. It's more or less like I'm still gonna do business with you, no matter what, because it's a good space. Like to me, I believe business brings people together.
Absolutely.
It sometimes brings you the wrong people, but sometimes I believe that it can also mend something. It can also start a relationship over something. Like my best relationships that I have personally are because of shoes.
I 100%.
I know you because of shoes.
100%.
Really, for no other reason at first.
We would have never met. I mean,
for sure.
If we wouldn't have both been in the Facebook groups in 2015, joining raffles, so I mean it's I totally agree with you, man, that business should be about bringing people together, and I think that's why if you look at the people that kind of were started out with you and I mean you were in this prior to me, but like in all the Facebook groups, none of them. Very few of them are still around, and a lot of them, they got caught scamming, or
scamming is an epidemic.
Scamming was crazy on Facebook groups, and
it's still bad.
Like some of the biggest names in the game got exposed on these Facebook groups. In 15, 16, 17, 18, it was rampant. And listen, if you got exposed, it was a wrap for you. So I'm equally grateful that I done good business, and I have a large catalog of connections and stuff. So to hear you say that is pretty cool, man. Especially since we both never really had our integrity questioned or anything like that. So we've done really good business for a decade. It's pretty impressive, man.
I feel like it's really just not that hard when you make it a set standard. It's kind of like when it's business, it's like I just don't understand when a business owner doesn't attend to whether they're bitching or not. It's like, okay, you can't, not everybody's gonna be happy with your service, your product, or ever. Like it's impossible.
You can't make your wife or your spouse or your brother happy 100% of the time. What makes you think you're gonna make your customer happy 100% of the time?
And the best way to do it is just deal with it. Understand as a business person, you take losses no matter what, and you just sometimes those little losses are worth taking to save the name of your business, save the reputation, maybe even lock in a customer that you have no idea how many people have walked in my store upset, maybe feeling the type of way about a certain experience. We make it right, and now they shop forever. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, and that just took basic speaking skills.
Common sense, huh?
Nothing else.
That's it. Being
normal.
That's all it takes sometimes, right?
Every
Just
time.
be normal.
Every time.
Yeah, that's it.
Just fucking act
Just-
right.
just be normal.
Don't come up in here. Hey.
Yeah.
Just come up in here and say, hey, this is what was wrong with
Yeah.
last time. How can you make it better?
Can
Well,
we
this is
work on
how.
it? Right.
This
Yeah,
is how, buddy.
I totally agree, man. Yeah, that's really good advice, man. So you got some highs, you got some lows. We got your story, man. What do you? I know everybody always asks everybody this same question, so I'm gonna ask you as well.
Oh boy.
What? No cliche, no just real deal. What do you think? Like one piece of advice to anybody watching this that is on the fence about going all in on themselves in any space. It doesn't matter if it's sneakers, if it's retail, wholesale. It don't matter what it is. Like, what can you give an aspiring entrepreneur, hustler, somebody that's looking for some kind of words, man?
Okay. Damn.
Let's go profound, baby.
This one's good because I'm not a selfish person, but I am only thinking about myself in this because I know I will voice this and most people will not, right? So the first thing would be stay away from gambling. Gambling is something that is just, it is designed for you to lose, and in the grand scheme of things, you are going to lose. So if you have aspirations of making and saving your money, that is rule number one.
Is that experience talking? I'm not being nosy.
For sure.
Because that was pretty specific.
For sure.
to
That's
bring
why I
gambling
said.
up.
That's why I said
Okay.
most people won't ever bring up
Okay.
gambling because for most people it's not a humongous problem where they're literally losing everything
But
or
it can
anything
be.
like that. But like when you have people that do, let's say, sports parlays and they're just getting their paychecks
Yeah.
dripped
Yeah.
week after week after
That's a
week, they
problem.
don't realize, oh,
Right.
I'm only doing $5 bets. Okay, that
Yeah,
shit
but you're doing
adds up.
500 of them, right?
Right.
No gambling, guys.
So none of that. But
Okay.
the biggest thing I would say is that you straight up do miss all the shots you don't take.
Yep.
So if you have an idea, it is okay to exert all your energy into it.
Yeah.
I have someone super close to me that had a super good paying job uptown, tells me, yo, I have this great idea. I want to quit my job and go for it, right? He did it and it failed.
Yeah.
And all he said was, okay, well, now I know for the next time, just have a little bit of a better plan in place.
That's it.
Now does a job that he makes more than what he would have in the second job that he didn't necessarily get going for him.
That's
So
it.
what you basically have to do is take risks, not in a gambling way, take
Yeah.
risks on yourself
Yeah.
because you might surprise yourself. And if you,
Boy, I did.
you know what I'm
Us.
saying?
Yes.
You always do because sometimes it only takes, social media is beautiful
Talk
now.
that
It takes
shit, right,
one
yes.
video, it takes one TikTok,
Yes.
one anything,
That's
and you are like the internet's designed to see you, to show you to people. Like
That's
you have to bet on yourself. Like no matter what you want to do, if you have an idea, just go for it because number one, it's not going to be your last idea. You know what I'm saying? So if it fails, fucking find a new one.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? But if it goes great, you would have been so sick with yourself if you did
Had you
try
not
it.
done
You
it,
know what I'm
right?
saying? Yeah, for sure.
And
So
I think a lot of people they're scared of failure. I do, and
shit, me too.
I mean,
But
shit, me
makes you
too.
better.
Me too. But I mean, once I started really going all in on myself, and I seen that I could do it, it's the best feeling in the world, man. It is, and I'm very grateful and very thankful for that. It's so dope. Man, I think that is it. We covered a lot of stuff with my man. I'm so thankful. Like I said at the first, came all the way from North Carolina. He got up at probably 4:30. His
Well, that was
flight,
the first alarm.
yeah, his flight was at 7:00. He got here. We went and grabbed some food. We're gonna knock this out, and I'm gonna take him back to the airport. But I just wanted to say, man, thank you so very much.
Bro,
Honestly,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
really,
Thank
I've had
you.
such a great time. I want to give a shout out to Christian as well. He has
That big cameraman.
he has really helped me. I mean, over the past few years, obviously, but just right now, like he's been here answering all the questions that I have about this because, you know, I don't
Bro,
really know how
tech
to.
is a hustle,
Yeah,
bro.
what-
Tech is hard as
Well, the
fuck,
thing
bro.
is, this is an iPhone, and I'm like, hey, can you drive over and press this button? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll be. It takes me an hour, but yeah, I'll be. Like, he's really looked out. So I'm very grateful, man. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in. I'm so thankful. Episode 1, I was a little nervous at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, but as we got into it, I started to feel better because we've had countless conversations before. Thank y'all to everybody. Thank y'all for the support. Like, follow, share, subscribe, hit the bell, the button, the heart, the whistle, everything. Hustle Talk Pod everywhere in the world, guys. Thank y'all so much. Stay tuned. More to come. Love you guys.
Later.